Hi there. Welcome to Tech Talk Weekly. I'm Bob from Creation Station. Are you still interested in space? I think we are. This is our weekly show where we talk about three or four interesting tech topics that are in the news, give you a fun library fact, really cool this time, and send you on your way in about 20-25 minutes. My good friend and guest today is Kimberly White, the head of summer. You
Hi, Bob.
are. You're the head of summer for now.
And I'm sitting at your desk, and there's all sorts of fun things here.
Isn't there fun stuff? Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So
if only I could do a desk tour.
Oh, yeah. No, the camera's not quite as good, but we'll come up with that another time for you.
You have a lot of fun gadgets.
I have lots of miscellaneous things that I play with as I'm talking on the phone and sitting in meetings, and people can't see me on camera But when I'm on camera like this and we have topics to cover, no, it's a great thing. We're going to come back and hit all the summer stuff because that's what we do. Start of summer is always Kimberly White. Let me get us in our first thing. So I was teasing about space is still interesting because I know it seems like at least once a month we do a space story. And this story here today, this first one, I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. And I wasn't going to put it in the rundown until I talked to somebody else yesterday. And they were like, oh, did you see this splashdown? And I'm like, oh, maybe other people do want to see this.
Oh, people still are interested in space.
Yeah. What do you think about, so this is the Axis landing. They went up on a SpaceX. It's the second private space company. SpaceX launches them. They basically bought a ride on SpaceX, take paid visitors and paid scientists up to the space station. They go up, they do their experiments. They've been up there for a week or so, and now they just got back on the 30th, and they made a big splash. So do you notice these things at all, Kimberly? Do you pay any attention to the space stuff that happens like that?
Not really. I think I was mentioning to you, I'm a kid of the 70s and 80s. So I was at school with the Challenger launch, and
that's
so I think I have like some complicated feelings around space and launches,
and that's okay.
But but yeah, it's cool. I guess the idea that anybody really could go, and the idea of like competition, I guess, against like a government program and a private program is
that's kind of the cool thing. I mean, the spacesuits are much cooler nowadays.
Yeah. Like, are they going to get the better? Are those privately paid people going to have like the newer things? It's fascinating to start thinking about.
Yeah. Oh, right? Definitely. And, like last year when the first real space touristy people went up on there and they complained about how much work they had to do, quote unquote. The people are really understanding that, this is not like a hotel that you're going to. You're going up there and you're working, you're doing things. You have to stay out of the way of the professional astronauts if you're not already an engineer kind of person, which is basically what happened here is they brought up real engineers. They brought up people who were doing real work. And then to help fund that, let's get a couple of rich people to buy a ticket to come up with us for 10 days.
To just watch? They just swap.
They're given tasks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they are given a real task. They have to go through all the same training also, because in case of an emergency, you have to be able to help out if something goes wrong on launch, on landing, while you're there over that 10-day period. So there's a lot there. And one of the people that went up extended her, because that is the person who's got the longest time in space, is a female NASA astronaut, is the longest, over 2 years worth of time in space now, accumulated all together for all of her trips back and forth and everything. So she was one of the people that they took up there to go do some of these experiments and stuff. So they're real people.
They're real people. Yes, they're real people. This is a sidebar, but it's another question. Like, have they done studies? I'm sure they have. Like the long-term effects of being in space that long. Like,
they've done 2 different types of experiments. One that goes for pure length of time. They did that with the twins. two astronauts that are twins. One stayed on Earth, one stayed on the space station for over a year, and then measure their DNA against each other again when he came back, and go back and forth and see the physiological changes as well as some of the chemical stuff that happens in the brain and everything as they're trying to prepare these longer term missions out to the moon and everything. Plus, they are doing testing with her and saying, okay, well, this is what's going to happen if you continually go in and out of low Earth orbit and subject your body to gravity back and forth, because we're going to have taxi drivers in space soon. I know that sounds like a crazy thing, but go Kimberly.
Oh, I was looking for the name because I didn't want to say the wrong thing, but there was a show on Apple TV, Hello Tomorrow. Have you seen it?
I have not.
And it's this idea that there's these like salespeople who are selling like homes and things on space. And so it's this whole idea of like people who are, wanting to escape the doldrums of Earth. They can go like buy a house on space. And I don't want to say much more because there's a lot of other things that happen, but
that sounds fun. That sounds cool.
Fascinating. Yeah, it's fascinating. And the way they like set the scene is, it's kind of like, looks like it's set in the 50s, but it's futuristic. So it's just very interesting. Cool. I don't know. So it just brings up all these like ideas that, I don't know.
Well, yeah.
People are so drawn to going to, the idea of going to space. And
well, speaking of the 50s, I mean, here we go. We're talking less than 3 years from now, Japan plans on having power being beamed down to Japan from outer space.
Yeah, when I first I wasn't really understanding what the benefit is, but it seems like they can capture solar.
Yes, so your solar panels, you can have small, you can have smaller solar panels that are, the efficiency on the solar panels is greatly enhanced by having them up there in space and then beaming it down. And they did this test. The country of Japan did this test back in 2015 with how does this kind of thing work? Could we really beam power back and forth? They did a very low energy, cost thing to test it and said yes. Now they've booking flights for their satellites to go up. And then just this morning, Caltech releases a brand new study where their experiment worked. And now it's a space race again for green energy of getting solar power from space. I know it sounds crazy if you're not thinking about it. Like, why don't you just put a solar panel out there in the Mojave Desert and collect a lot of sun that way? Isn't that easier?
But it produces a lot more solar. What they're saying is like a gigawatt, which is
It's
one nuclear reactor.
Right now,
so produces
70,000 homes for a year from one solar panel up in space versus how much you have to do down here on the planet.
It's only going to be $7 billion.
Well, that is the thing. You got to get it started. And once you get started, it's a lot cheaper once you start building and building and building. Mm-hmm. But they did. I mean, this is something where this is not a theoretical, simple, basic test one like Japan did. They launched a satellite in January, Maple, which is their microwave array power transmitter for Caltech, and it received power.
I do like Maple.
Everything done. Yeah. Syrup's a good thing. I like this idea. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. Okay.
Isn't it?
Yeah. It really is.
So the thing that most people don't think about is obviously we're going to green energy because we need it, but to truly be green, quote unquote, you need to be able to be environmentally sensitive also. They've got all these solar panels. If you look out in Southern California now, out in the Mojave, one of the largest places in the world for collecting solar energy because, quote unquote, nothing lives there except for the wild animals that we've just erased their tracks for how they can go back and forth, or the people who lived out there and Native Americans, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So this is going to solve all those problems because now you just need to build one receiving station and take in that power and go.
Yeah, it's getting harder to. Yeah,
Did
I
you
would
ever
think you
play
need to.
SimCity when you were a kid, Kimberly?
No,
Okay.
sorry.
Well, no, in there they have this kind of thing in the simulators and in the city building things. And then when the laser goes wrong and it tracks out over your city and leaves a burning swath with its laser, there's some things we have to think out first before we put super huge lasers up in space. But yeah.
Yeah.
But
But I mean,
I
it's
know they
cool
don't
to
mention
think.
that in the article.
And many years ago, I lived for like a season at the Grand Canyon, and I just remember like just the water, like the water example is
Yeah.
just getting water from the bottom of the canyon up was just this little simple pipe, and even just like electricity with the Hoover Dam and all of that, like eventually, like you say, probably need another solution. So it's fascinating to,
Oh yeah.
I don't know,
It's
just think about.
craziness. All the stuff
But
that's happening with this.
but the long term effects of like sending that back, I don't know, like
It's going to be
health
interesting.
effects. I don't know.
Well, the health effects are pretty ignorable because the only people that are going to be affected would be the workers in the actual receiving plant. So it would be just like working in any other high intensity
Nuclear,
electrical field kind of thing.
Okay.
This is what you got to do and do.
Okay.
Speaking of people,
Yeah.
here's the
for this
one that
story.
you got to tell me about this one now, Kimberly. So, do you like having strange people in your photos?
Well, this is what I was going to say is that maybe not at the time, but I think some of the best photos are the ones where you can see like random slices of life from back in the day, or like the, random person you didn't notice the first time
Yeah.
who's in a Speedo at Central Park or whatever, so they're in the background. So yeah, maybe in the beginning, if you're trying to make it frameable, I can see the benefit of taking someone else so it looks a little more picturesque. But some of those people in the background are the best parts of the photos, but
and this here a good example of a family photo that, like you said, you lose a lot of character. There's a meme that's going around on Reddit and everything like that about time traveler. He's got a camera and he's wearing a particular kind of hat and what looks to be a hoodie and things like that, because it's at a University of Michigan football game, I think it is, where it just turns out that they did track down exactly, okay, this is the person who just happens to be standing in the background there, and he does have a camera in his hand because it's one of the very early first portable cameras, and he was an eccentric person who would go take pictures, and he was a rich guy who could afford these things, and that's why he has this weird hat on, and et cetera, and they walk through all of the stuff. It's like, he's not a time traveler, he just looks different than everybody around him. Yeah. And you would lose that, because if you were only taking, okay, here, we just want our football team picture right here, and we're going to erase all the background people, you take him out.
Right. And you take out like the richness of the story of like a slice of life. Like lots of times it's the background items that help you like get a sense of what year it is, or,
I mean, looking at this picture here that we've got here, I mean, just the different types of swimsuits throughout all those different people that are back there, and people, and I love the idea that in the article itself, he says, "Oh, and the child on the left getting ready to throw a ball," and I'm like, it looks to me like he has a bottle of something drinking there, because that's what you used to be able to do, is take bottles onto the beach, and we now would never think about taking glass out onto the beach, but back then that's what they did. So I'm like, it's in trying to interpret it through the lens, our modern lens, versus what they see back then, etc. So yeah.
And it's funny because Yeah, we're doing it already in present time, right? We're using
Uh-huh.
Magic Eraser and we're taking background things out, so it's more Insta friendly or whatever, right? And
Yeah.
posting it. But I never really thought about doing it with historical photos, which
Uh-huh.
so
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems a little too
This is what AI is bringing
cleaned up.
us.
It's
Yeah.
a little too cleaned up
Yeah, you're
for my
trying
liking.
to make history fit your mold instead of actually what really happened.
Hmm.
Yeah, I know.
Hmm.
Not great, but I don't
Yeah.
want to erase anything. I want to leave it there. But I think that there's a good way of leaving a watermark or some kind of thing like saying this photo has been edited. And Adobe
Right.
and some people are starting to do that. If you use the new Adobe AI tools, it embeds a watermark in in your image that indicates that this was edited by an AI, so that anyone who goes to look at it will know you changed that. That's not an original. You did something to create that.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, right.
Yeah.
I like that. I think that's a good solution because I think sometimes you might want to clean it up for a frame, but when you're looking at a pile of
Yeah,
photos, it's
exactly.
the
You
fun
want to go
part.
through and find some cool stuff. Well, the new cool thing out there, one last little bit for us. I really wish this is something I could show people because then you'd be done with it. Now, remember, these are all in the show notes. You can go follow this link in the show notes. You can do this on a browser. You can download the app if you really want to. Don't. There's no need to download another app. Use your browser on your phone to do this. And you get this little owl that's floating here in midair. Kind of hard to see in that picture. And it is a little powered by AI, augmented reality image of an owl that you can talk to and get answers about the rainforest.
Hmm. He's very cute, but is that all he does? Is that
That
your
is all he
question?
does. Yeah.
Because
Uh-huh. Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
Pokemon Go, it's a game and all that's different things, right?
Yeah.
But okay. Am
I
I supposed to be
know.
impressed? Oh,
I
okay.
I am not impressed. I think that it's interesting, and I think if they would have paired this with a large language model that
Mhm.
make this owl like a Pokemon, but make it
Mhm.
so that I can talk to it, make it
Mhm.
so that I can just ask any questions and it can just give me back answers, even if you want to restrain it so that it only gives very specific answers or very specific topics. Um, at least that would be more interesting and I'd use it a lot more. Even in the article where they're talking about how cool this is, they're like, yeah, it's great for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, they're basically saying like it's not supposed to be like Pokemon
Yeah.
Go. It's more supposed to be like
A proof of
he
concept
could,
of, look, this is what you
yeah,
could
of
do.
this real. You're having a real conversation. It's more about like having a back and forth conversation with the owl, I guess.
Yeah.
Which
It, it's cool. It's fun. Maybe. I think that this is another one of those things where, as we were talking at the beginning of the show, maybe it's just that I'm a little jaded because I see all these things every day in my feeds all the time. So that's why I wanted to throw it in here to let other people go experience this. Go try this out and write us back. creationstation@broward.org comes right to us. Let us know. Did you try this out? Do you think it's cool? Do you not think it's cool?
Mhm.
Who knows? I'm not sure. I know there is one thing that's cool.
Oh
Summer at your
yes,
library.
somewhere at your library. So are you
So
gonna show up?
Kimberly does, I will show anything that you need. So here's the login that you go to, broward.org/library/summer.
Yep. So it's summer learning time at Broward County Library. So from June 1st to August 12th, 2023, we have summer learning. And there are two parts of it. One is summer challenges. So Bob just clicked on the software that we use called Beanstack, which is a challenge software. And you create an account and you can create an account for everyone in your family and you can link them together as a family unit. And then you start logging your reading and doing activities. And over the course of the summer, you earn digital badges. You can pick up free books and free reward packs at all of your branch locations. You can submit reviews. You can see events, all sorts of things. And then at the end of the summer and throughout the summer, we do lots of drawings to kind of generate excitement.
You're going to see Kimberly and I doing some pop-up things about those. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is just an easy way to log reading. And if your student is a Broward County Public School student, then you can link your school account for Beanstack and your library account, and then you can toggle back and forth.
And adults also.
Adults also, we have some great prizes all summer long. Adults, our big prize for adults is a staycation at Margaritaville in Hollywood, and we're really excited. I mean, who doesn't need a
staff's not eligible to win?
Staff's not eligible, and and then on our website, that Broward.org, you can go to the link for Beanstack. There's an app, and there's like an ISBN thing that you can scan your reading that way. And then there's also the events page on our website and the digital magazine, which
the digital magazine. 50 pages just for June, July, and the beginning of August.
Yeah.
50 pages of events happening at libraries all around where you are. You can go through this and go see everything.
So this explains the reading challenges. Yep. Yeah. And it explains all the events. And then we have tons of really cool, big featured events. And also summer lunches. So we have 12 locations have summer break spots starting June 12th, running through August 11th. And that's also on our website. So anybody, kids 18 and younger, come and stop at one of those 12 locations and get a free nutritious lunch. And yeah, I mean, our colleagues have really outdone themselves. There are book discussions and art workshops and science workshops and Beatles tribute band performances.
Oh yeah, that's going to be so much fun. Yeah.
I know. One's in Pompano on June 10th and one is here at Main Library, Main After Dark on June 23rd. There's Juneteenth events. There's Haitian heritage events. There's oh gosh, I mean, there's so many things. It's really exciting.
And they brought me back at several of the locations. Brought me back later on in the summer with the submarine to go out and show those things again and stuff. So yeah, there's virtual reality at a bunch of the libraries, GeoGuessr quizzes and challenges. Yeah, this is a thing for everybody to do something all summer long. There's not a time. Nobody is going to be bored.
It's almost feeling like the word we shall not say. Like the past few years, we've been doing a lot of, hybrid and online. It's almost feeling like the before days. This is right where it's like
this is our new, and there's still a bunch of virtual and hybrid stuff in this catalog too, just in case you can't get out there. For the people who are not in our local South Florida area who are listening to this, you can still participate. You can go into Beanstack and register for prizes and register and take part in these challenges with your Broward County Library card that you can get, or your own local library system will help you out with all these things, because every library in the country does this all summer long. Come join it. You gotta come have fun.
It's really like our, holiday season, right? It's our chance to really, invite people back in. And if it's been a little while, come check out. I think
come check out a building. Yeah.
Pleasantly surprised of
if you're down here in South Florida, I don't know if there's any tickets left. Dave Barry, we got a 300 plus seat auditorium that I think they're at least one's sold out. I think.
It's so cool.
Check the catalog, check the sites. There's a lot of stuff. Okay, there's so much stuff we got to get going here though, because we got to go get ready for Saturday Book Fest. We talked about it last week. Come see us on Saturday. And if there is a library or librarian you want to see featured on the show one week, let us know. CreationStation@Broward.org. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you on Saturday.
Bye.